Hi guys, the Metal Maniac back again, and in this video I'm going to be doing a review of the album Crimes Against Reality by the band Game Over. This is their third album, and it was released in 2016. Game Over are a relatively newer thrash metal band, and they were founded in, I think it was either 2006 or 2008. Sorry, I almost got that wrong, but yeah. They were founded in 2008, so they're relatively a newer thrash metal band. They have 4 albums out so far, and like I said, this is their third album. Anyway, so before I get into the songs, I'm gonna name off the band members really quick. All right. Zyro on guitar, Vendor on drums, Reno on bass and vocals, and Sanso on a guitar. All right. So the album starts off with a very short but very cool instrumental called "What Lies Within." It's extremely short, but it fits very well considering what song comes next. Hold on. It's a very interesting opener. It's very sort of slow and atmospheric, for the most part. But within the last very bit of the instrumental, there's this sort of built up sort of drum bit that gets more and more built up, more and more epic. And then that leads into the next track, which is technically the first proper song on the album, which is track 2, and that is 33 Park Street. Yeah, I love how it builds up to that song. Usually when you have an instrumental that's an intro, it's its own thing for the most part. But this instrumental is cool because, like I said, it builds up, and then it flows very nicely into the next song, which almost feels like a continuation of the instrumental a little bit. But yeah, 33 Park Street is a really cool song. Very fast, very fast, very aggressive, very, I guess, typical, of this band and just the way it sounds in terms of their style of thrash metal. It's a little bit more, on the melodic side, in terms of the chorus, but still very, very good. The riffing is great. The vocals are great as well. But the guitar work on the solos is actually probably the best part about this song. But yeah, 20. I'm gonna say 22 Park Street, but no, it's 33 Park Street. But yeah, anyway, 33 Park Street, great song. The next song is actually my favorite song on the album, Neon Maniacs. This one actually had a music video to it. I'm not sure if I'm not sure, I don't remember. I don't think any of the other songs had music videos, but again, I might be completely wrong. But from memory alone, I only remember Neon Maniacs getting a music video, at least in terms of the songs on this album. Yeah, very cool song. I'd say it's one of the more shorter songs on here. There's quite a few songs that are actually pretty, I guess, lengthy. Not lengthy overall, but I mean lengthy in terms of the band. Usually, songs on their other albums are usually relatively short, on the short end. But most of the songs on here are longer. But anyway, in terms of this album, it's probably one of the shorter songs. But it's very, very cool. I absolutely love it. Probably I'd say my second or first favorite sort of chorus on any of these songs. It's definitely, I'd say, one of the more melodic songs on here. And it just has a very cool sort of atmosphere. Really great riff. and one of if not my favorite guitar solo on the entire album. Yeah, like I said, very fast but very good. Again, it's one of the shorter songs on here, and I absolutely love it. Even though it's kind of short. And also, of course, just awesome and just very melodic as well. Next up is With All That's Left. And honestly, this is one of the very few songs on here that's pretty forgettable. It's not a bad song. It's just not one that really strikes me as that memorable. But yeah, With All That Is Left is pretty forgettable. And then the song that ends side A is called Astral Matter. This one's a very cool sounding song. The opening riff, like first you get a really cool sort of like opening bass sort of riff that's kind of low in the mix, but it sounds pretty good. But then you get to the actual main opening riff after the weird bass part. It's very cool, very epic, very spacey. It's not the main riff, but it is the opening riff. Very epic, very spacey, and it actually kind of reminds me of the opening sort of, also kind of spacey and epic riff of the Dethklok song "The Galaxy." Now, it doesn't 100% sound like it. It's completely different, but it has a very similar, I guess, atmosphere to it that kind of connects. I know, very weird comparison, but that's just what, that it has the same kind of atmosphere, I guess. And then it goes to the main riff, which is a bit more thrashy, not as sort of like epic sounding as, the opening riff, but it's still very, very good. And then it goes into, no, sorry, before it goes to the more standard thrash metal riff, it has this very cool, I guess, secondary riff, I guess you could call it. It's a very, I don't know. It's a very odd sort of way they put it together, but it's very cool. It's again very odd, but it's still interesting. Yeah, certain guitar riffs on this album are great, but it's interesting how they put them together. But yeah, and then it goes into, another great sort of melodic chorus, leading into a melodic solo as well. And, then it goes back to the more sort of, I guess, opener type thing where it's a bit more, spacey sounding, and then it goes right back to the, main sort of thrashy riff, and then it ends. Alright. Next up is the only other song on here that I really don't like, and that's sort of an instrumental-esque kind of thing called Fugue in D minor. Unlike Within All That Is Left, With All That's Left. With All That's Left is not a bad song, it's just forgettable. But this weird sounding, again, almost instrumental type thing, called Fugue in D minor, is not only forgettable, it's just very bizarre and just dumb. Again, it's mostly instrumental with a few spoken word bits, but it's just a very odd creation. I don't even want to call it a song or an instrumental, it's a very odd creation. It's just very, I don't know, just way too silly and just out of place on the album, really. But thankfully the album picks up again with the next song, Just a Little Victory. Another very, more straightforward, thrashy kind of song. Yeah, there's some melodicness to it, but just like with a couple other songs on here, it's more of a straightforward thrash metal song. But yeah, just another great one. Gates of Ishtar. I always am confused with how to pronounce this one. It's either Ishtar or Ishtar. I don't know, but I'll just say Ishtar for now. Gates of Ishtar. Another great, mostly straightforward thrash. More straightforward. Oh, I'm gonna speak. More straightforward thrash metal type song. There we go. And the interesting thing about it is that it also has a very cool intro riff that also doubles as an outro riff. It's a very more sort of Arabian, very cool, sort of almost Arabian type style riff, sounding riff. It's very cool because, like I said, they use it as the intro riff, but also the outro riff as well. Now in the midsection, of course, for the most part of the song, again, standard sort of, standard, thrash metal, type riffing for, in terms of, this band. But it has a very cool, very fast-paced, energetic solo. Not as melodic as some of the other solos, but still very good. Um, the next song is the title track, "Crimes Against Reality." I'd say this is probably my third favorite song on here. It definitely is a bit more on the melodic side. This time with the song, again, there's some really cool sort of like very fast-paced bits and pieces on this one, especially for the most part of the not chorus, but I'd say just in terms of where the vocals are, there are certain it balances the more clear cut, fast paced, straight to the point, sort of like bam 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 type thrash metal vocals, and on this, and but then it also has a bit here and there where the vocals are a bit more like just the style is a bit more melodic and a bit more just different. It's a bit different, a bit more melodic. It balances those two with the vocals very very well, and just the style of which they're being sung, I guess. And also I'd say it has another really cool, very melodic guitar solo as well. Um, all in all, another great song. And then the last song is called "Fix Your Brain." I'd say out of all the songs on here, this is the most interesting in terms of vocal work. Mainly because there's these bits, not the chorus bits, but there's some near the beginning and near the end, where I forget his name, but the vocalist does these really interesting things in terms of the vocal. Like he does this really weird but cool kind of almost stutter type thing, like purposeful like stutter, which adds to the sort of like hecticness of a lot of the parts on this song. Of course, with the title like "Fix Your Brain," it sort of fits really. And it just adds so much to the atmosphere on this one. And I love, again, like with the title track "Crimes Against Reality," the vocal work also has this really cool balance of more straight to the point, bam, 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 fast paced, sort of like lyrical style, as well as the more sort of more melodic, very sort of like again more melodic, more. I wouldn't want to say mellow, but I'll just say more melodic then. More melodic-ish kind of vocals. And yeah, it also has a really cool sort of guitar solo as well. And then it ends with a very cool sort of almost drum outro type thing. But yeah, so those are the songs. All right. So before I get to the my final thoughts and the verdict, I'm gonna go over the artwork and stuff really quickly. So the artwork is probably what draws most people in before even listening to the album. It's very cool. It's sort of like this post-apocalyptic city kind of thing, also combined with this really cool sort of sci-fi background. As you can see in the background, there's like a very sci-fi-esque sort of cityscape with this ruined building in the foreground. And I don't know exactly what's actually supposed to be going on here. I don't know what they're trying to. I don't know. Again, I don't know the story behind what the artwork is supposed to be telling. But you get this beaten down brick wall with a mirror. And then in the mirror you get the I don't even know if that's supposed to be a reflection, but it's either a reflection or like a vision of like a regular person. But in front of the mirror is this zombie looking thing. looking at the reflection, and I guess it's supposed to be metaphorical or something. But I don't know for sure. But I kind of find it, to me, it kind of seems like some kind of metaphor type thing. And then of course you get the name of the album right there in like a graffiti font. And then this really cool logo. Out of all their logos on all of their 4 albums, this is definitely my favorite. It actually kind of reminds me of the logo on the Glory Hammer logo, especially the one on the Space Wizards album. I keep forgetting the full title of that album, mainly because it's super long. Space 1992, Rise of the Chaos Wizards, that's it. It kind of reminds me of that version of the Glory Hammer logo. It has pretty much the exact same sort of color palette, with almost the exact same sort of neon-ish kind of metallic green color. That also has like a shading, really cool shading effect. And even the font for the Game Over logo looks very similar to the Glory Hammer font. Yeah, just a really cool, not something you see every day type of band logo type font. And then the back, of course, has the song titles as well as a picture of the band members. And then this album doesn't really come with much, but it does come with a little sort of insert. Of course, on the first side, you get the lyrics to the songs, and then another picture of the band members on the back. So overall, this is probably their most it is their most melodic album. Most of their other albums is pretty much straightforward, sort of modern thrash metal. Of course, with their own sort of unique twists and turns put into their music. But as a whole, most of them are, again, pretty, straightforward thrash. Yeah, I like the different approach they took with this album, and they made it a little bit more, they had a little bit more to make it stand out. Again, putting a lot of melodic elements in this, in the instrumentation and even the vocals was a very cool idea. I don't want to go as far to say it being melodic thrash metal, but it kind of does, in a way, it kind of is. Most of the songs on here are very, very good. Like I said before, just the way they handle just the way the vocals are done are really cool, and the way that, balances the more melodic side with the more sort of, again, more thrash metal, standard thrash metal type vocals. The solos in here are amazing. For the most part, extremely melodic, kind of technical at some points as well. The riffing is great. And I also love the, sort of combination of the more straightforward thrashy songs and the more melodic, epic kind of songs. Overall, I'm gonna give this album a 9 out of 10. I think it's a near perfect album. My only complaint is the forgettable fourth song, With All That Is Left, and then the really bizarre creation, I guess you could call it an instrumental, Fugue in D minor. But those are, I guess, minor nitpicks. Everything else on here is great. The songs, the instrumentation, the vocals, the production, just everything else about this album is very, very well done. And yeah, it's a 9 out of 10. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.